Welcome back, everyone, to Egypt Old Kingdom. Strategic Sage here. And in this particular session, we're transitioning from we've survived the Civil War, barely, and it's going to be a while before we have our next trial, but this is another one of those key in-between periods. We've got to recover and grow the economy as much as possible, or the end of the game is going to be very painful for us. And so I'm going to have to try to balance everything out as well as I can. Now, the good part is we have the Nile available to us again, and we want to occupy that. So I'm going to yank every one of my generic, just in here to get food workers out. Keep all of the profitable ones in place. Oh, there's another. And you're coming. You're also coming. You're borderline, but I'll keep you there. Okay, lots of them here. Now, one of them is coming over here to build a pasture. Because we have just enough time to get a pasture up before we build the thing that King Kasekemwe wants. And then here, we want to resume our operations because we have 8 turns left to get the Second Dynasty tombs. We can afford to spend 4 years on each of these. So if we drop down to the subterranean dwelling, then that's 4 years, and we'll still get some benefit from it. So that's really the most that we can do there. Okie dokie. So now we're going to zoom back out. And everybody's going to get to work in this vicinity. All the way down the river. Okay, I think I'm going to yank you as well. And I want to try to distribute people. I mean, there's a bit of favor there. We've got Seeker here. We at least are out of the famine. But we still have some work to do. I want to... from a cult standpoint, we've got to get Seth back active. Because Seth is not currently active. So that pretty much takes us down to no favor left. And I really need more population. So... at this stage, this is all looking much better than it was, obviously. But I'm going to throw a couple of you back down in here, at least for now. Okay, and at least getting to plus 10, I feel a little bit better about things. Every few turns, then we can bring in a new worker. So onward we go. And a successful expedition. That's excellent. There's our pasture. At least get a little bit more out of this area while you work on building this up. And boom, we go into the negatives. Now, I do want to begin working on some more of our advances here. Again, we're going to skip over that. But we have... not autobiographies. I want the boatman's technique for pyramid building. Lower the tomb construction cost. To build the Great Pyramids, boatmen and riggers shipped thousands of gigantic stone blocks hundreds of kilometers over Egypt's river system. Using principles of mechanics, such as displacement of center of gravity, experience in lifting huge weights, helped to refine the art of pyramid building. In other words, they got better at building the pyramids, but frankly, we're not really sure how. There's a lot of debate about how exactly they even were constructed. Lots of good theories, but none that we can specifically say, yeah, this is how it was done. So we're into the guesstimation, informed speculation sort of period there. And onward we go. We have another worker. So I now want to get back to exploring to the extent that I can. We'll go ahead and roll you up here. And we're about to have Seeker expire, so I can't really afford to do any more cult at this point. And Seth fired and failed. Tomb of Sined. Now, another one of these from sort of the Dark Period. We don't know a whole lot about Sined. Could have been around anywhere from 20 to 70 years as king. And very few, evidences of exactly what was going on. Was Egypt even united or divided during his time? We don't know. Now, I don't really have enough to hit Osiris again, so we will just hit Seeker. And I'm also going to splurge here, and this is sort of a tense decision. I feel this is a key point. And this is partly due to a good suggestion I'd gotten about how to deal with maintenance going forward, which I'm going to take advantage of. I'm going to start hitting Happy, excuse me, for the bonus to the food, because look at that. I mean, that's just a remarkably strong number at this point. And getting that done will allow me to yank extra workers out of here and work on other items. So I think really leaning into getting as much favor as I can at this point is going to be most beneficial. I also want to go back into really focusing on some expeditions. And I want to only take the best ones. Like, these two are monstrously excellent in terms of, how much they're gonna get for us. 4.5, 4.5, and then this one is still, only going to give me the 3 per turn. So I'm not going to quite go with that. I think coming down here, this is, again, this is not a great. It would help some, but I'm hoping to get like some stronger expeditions that I can utilize. And just none of these are particularly fantastic. If I were to hop into this one, again, I'd like some better ones. I think mainly I may just want to do what I was doing before, which is to focus on the production and then, translate that via the masterpiece if I need to. This one again, not that great. I probably should just get, just add on you and have you work on this, and hopefully I'll be able to get some boost out of it. I could get a boost to resources by running those lower level expeditions in some of these areas. But, I mean, how much of that can I afford to really do? Maybe a couple of them along the Nile. Okay. And then you're exploring here. And you're going to explore up here. And I'm just going to try to stick with that for now and get the best options I can find. Obviously, we're getting hit pretty good here in luxuries, but I'm hoping we're going to have enough coming in to compensate. I'd like favor to be higher than 25, but I will take it. Okay. There's another one coming in. Maybe we reconstitute that. That's not a bad idea. It gets favor back up a little bit higher than it was. Well, I didn't need that. Dawn of Minoan civilization. In Greece, on the island of Crete, Minoan civilization has emerged, masters of bronze working, and created their own writing system, built a navy to fight pirates. They live in peace, with the seas serving them as city walls. So we're going to do that. And I think I need to yank you and have you continue the explorations. We have a petroglyph here. We can grab some more favor there, which is nice. And it'll just keep you moving right on up. I really want the 2 workers scouting at all times now. But I could have done without losing that one. So the Bronze Age in Greece, such as it is, has begun. Task completed. Gods are pleased and grant their benevolence to Egypt another +10 favor. Imhotep, a legendary person, emphasis on the legendary, in the history of Egypt, became famous as an architect, master shipwright, and skillful medic. Not really. He constructed one of the first monumental buildings of cut stone, a pyramid for King Djoser. Entire funeral complex designed became a model of perfection. One time plus 1.2k culture. Okay, so the pyramid of Djoser, the first step pyramid that was actually built. And very impressive, and Imhotep probably was the designer of it. Not certainly, but probably. He definitely was a key advisor to Djoser. Very impressive for someone of common birth. But at the same time, a lot of this is, well, there's sort of a cult that sprung up around Imhotep. We know that he was High Priest of Ra, also. We don't really know much else. The shipwright and medic and ideas about him being a philosopher, they were invented much later. There were a few brief inscriptions that tell us very little about his life that were contemporary to him. And then after that, it's well over 1,000 years before you start to see any writings at all referencing Imhotep. He eventually becomes sort of demigod status and very much elevated by the religious culture, but that was not something that happened, anywhere near the time that he actually lived. Or at least, if it did, no evidence of it. Okay, so then the Great Enclosure here. And this is a little bizarre as well. King built a magnificent rectangular wall, a most expensive construction of Egypt. Its purpose is still a matter of dispute. So it really was the magnificent Great Enclosure. What I think they're referring to, unless they're talking about something else that I have no source for at all, which I doubt it, I think they're talking about here Shunet el-Zabib, which was built by Khamenei, end of the Second Dynasty. The only one of the big funerary enclosures at the time that some of the walls are still standing, built out of mud bricks, and the name literally means in Arabic storage of the raisins, but that's just sort of a local colloquial name for it. There isn't a lot of debate, unlike what Egypt Old Kingdom is sort of trying to tell us here about what it was for. There was some theories that it might have had military purpose. Nobody said anything about being a sanctuary. It's pretty much considered the last big, the last precursor, if you will, before the step pyramids, and a good piece of evidence on the process of how the Egyptians got to the point of building pyramids as sort of the last piece of the puzzle before that. This idea that, we don't know what it was for, I haven't found anything to support that. So anyway, are we going to take it as the tomb of Khamenei? All Egyptians must believe that Khamenei was a true god, 8 culture per turn, or as a sanctuary, +1 favor per turn, a sanctuary of Ptah, the main sanctuary of the city. Well, I'm going to go with sanctuary, but this is definitely the historical route. I'm only doing this because I want the favor. Should have been a primary place of worship for the patron god of Memphis. Grandeur of its construction should have reinforced his status. Great Imhotep was later buried in this sacred place. Yeah, we don't know that either. They've looked for a tomb for Imhotep and haven't found one. They think it's somewhere in the Saqqara, but nobody's yet discovered it. So, yeah. The liberties with history here are, I feel that they're kind of losing the thread in this part of the game compared to some of the more accuracy that there was earlier on. In any case, we do get another worker back. And I think we should be able to do some more advances as well. So we could go with Tomb Upkeep, reducing that, or increasing the bonus. I'm going to take down the Upkeep first. Pyramid Builder Towns. Building pyramids and tombs could take decades, requiring a more complex management structure. A builder's town rose next to a future pyramid as a seasonal living place for building crews and support staff. And this is very much true. There were markets in these places and housings, and they weren't really big cities, but there were towns of significant size and infrastructure around the pyramids. So That is very much an interesting window into the effort that was required as we continue up that path. Okay, only one turn left. I think I'm going to jump in now and try to begin... Well, do I want to do that, or do I want to put you down here? I'm going to hit down here just for the favor boost, I think. Yep. And I'll wait one more turn for our next tomb, and then I think I'll go into Osiris again. And there we go, another plus 50 favor. Now we're looking pretty darn good on that front. So the Third Dynasty has come to power, famous for abandoning the burial customs of the Second Dynasty. Through their experiments, they will finally become pyramid builders. The gods will be pleased that each will start its rise to greatness. So this is actually the official beginning of what is generally called by historians the Old Kingdom. So we've actually, even though this game is called Old Kingdom, we've spent most of the game not in the Old Kingdom, in the prior period to it. Now the Palace of Eternity loses 50% to its bonus. That sucks. But we get our bit of a bonus to culture here. Yes, and we're going to need to build tombs for the Third Dynasty. That's a shocker. That will be right down here. Now, the end of the Second Dynasty. Our Third Dynasty does give us plus 5% to production and luxuries. They will experiment with funerary architecture to please the gods and protect the country from evil. 4 different kings are listed here. There's either 4 or 5, so that's pretty good. And we are appropriately starting with Djoser. So the Tomb of Weneg. Well, a lot of questions around them as well. I mean, we know even less here than we did about Sinej. You know, how long they reigned, what was going on. Complete virtual mystery there, other than the fact that they did in fact exist. So, moving on to our tombs here. They want us to actually build a step pyramid. And I'm going to do one of these, but then I'm going to back off because we're not going to be able to support the full thing. But this is Djoser, who was probably, there's some debate. Djoser was a son of Kasekemwe, but we don't know if was the direct successor or if there was another older son or whatever that came in the middle. But Djoser is generally the strongest candidate for beginning the Third Dynasty, beginning the Old Kingdom, under a period where there's more unification, there's less strife, and we do, in fact, start to know more and more about what is happening during this period. So we have a large size, and then we have also the middle here with the step pyramid, literally, you know, several mastabas of smaller size stacked on top of each other. And then the white limestone and the Palace of Eternity, which, since we lose 50% of the bonus there, I'm not super excited about doing that. And then actually having the burial chamber inside the pyramid, which is much more complicated for construction, that's an option there. So I'm only going to do this one more with the Palace of Eternity at this stage due to the reduction in the effectiveness of it. Okay, those are going to hurt some, but not too bad. We're doing okay there. I think, yeah, I do not want to hit Osiris. Because since we're leaning really heavily into that favor, let's keep that bonus going. And another worker. So now, this is dropping some, but I think with all of our expeditions and whatnot, I am going to start trying to add more of these territories on. So we're going to start with the Scarab people who are really close and just try to assimilate them. And if you remember our Conquering the Kingdom of Seth, we're still at just 23 out of 40 there. Got a lot of work to do. I really need to start growing all of that. And we're about to lose these two, so I'm going to hold on with Osiris. And Seth fires and misses, so I'm glad I did. Okay. That'll keep us going on luxuries for a while. We can get another worker. Yeah. Famine, we know. Okay, so for sure... See, what do we have? 64 for each. I can afford 3 of them. So we will do Seth. I think, right? Yeah, we did lose Seth. Seeker. And Hoppy. There we go. Got everybody back up. Now, we are going to continue our exploration. We are continuing to explore up here, are we not? Yes. Okay. Now, I wonder if we can... They're neutral. Are there any of these that we can trade with for a decent amount? I just want to check out our trade options. And that's just... Well, I mean, we get a ton of luxuries from it. Because we do have options of boosting our trade in research. So we get a lot more after we did that. I think maybe trading in lieu of being able to actually take over some of these areas might be a good idea. So I'll go ahead and trade with you for the moment. And then I will go after the sea trade. It's fairly cheap by our current standards. Advance. Ever since pre-dynastic days, Egypt traded with Asia through land routes, especially southern Palestine, shipped by porters and caravans, but as settlements developed in the Levant, Egyptians started sending naval expeditions there, and that makes trade more effective. Waterways have always been key for that throughout history. Yeah, this boosts us up to 6.4. So we're mostly taking over these territories, but for some of the better ones, trade is perhaps a good idea. And we could try to assimilate this area, or we could... Yeah, we're already maxed out. Oh, they're already controlled. I was thinking they were independent. Okay. But yeah, that should help us out quite a bit until we can get more control over that area. Oh, a dynastic marriage. The Bull people. Now, they're the strong one that was fighting us over here on the west of the Nile. So, we give us culture, big boost to our relations. I don't think we're going to have a better option than that. Gah! That would have been nice, though. Okay, the Bull people canceled an attack on us. That was good. And there we are. Opulent wedding of our king and a new queen from the land of naked people. Sort of a interesting name there. Marriage has been successful. The king will have many children. Let's definitely hope so. But the Bull people are now... Where? Yeah, 94%. So, like, being able to assimilate the Bull people would be good, because if we can do that, we get more than one area. We get a whole bunch of areas. So, I think we really want to do that. In fact, I'm going to yank you out of here right now and have you start... Well, you're still busy in this area. This is only for a couple turns to get this up to 100%. If it ends up costing too much, I can back off. But I really want to go after that. So I think that's a great opportunity. Okay, now we're up to 49. So in order to get more people, we need to increase our housing, which means it's finally time to repair some of these. There we go. And then you're still working there. You're going to come out here. There's lots of things that we could do. in this area. Well, let's go ahead and colonize. Okay, we can peacefully assimilate the Bull people. Still nothing else going on here, though. I'm a little disappointed in our efforts up here with the Scarab people. But we should get that anytime. And I'm just going to throw you back in here and trade. So that as soon as we get the Scarabs in, then I want to assimilate the Bull people. That's my plan. Okay, we repaired the houses. So we've got room for more workers. Oh my, that's a lot. Good. We boosted our resource collection bonus there. And look at that. The Tomb of Djoser, 2664 BC, which is probably around 100 years, maybe a little less late, but it's close enough. And then we're going to definitely want to adjust this. We are going to, yeah, still working on that. We can boost our population again, though. And maybe we have enough luxuries that we can, with some of these expeditions coming in, we can probably go to work on assimilating the Bull people anyway. So that's going to be coming up next time we revisit Egypt Old Kingdom. But we made some good progress here. Our population is rising. It's about to rise more. And I think the continued investment in Seeker and Happy is definitely going to be the way that I'm going to aim to do this going forward. Until then, thanks for watching. And we're really turning the corner now into the conclusion of Egypt Old Kingdom before too much longer. So I hope you'll stick with me for that. See you then.